Namaskar, viewers. Today's program is focused on women's health, but in Ayurvedic perspective. And we are the birth country of Ayurveda, and this is our ancient treasure and a very effective therapy stream. Somehow, during the course of time or invaders, we blame anything, but we have lost the important segment of our culture. But especially during the pandemic, we realized that nothing but Ayurveda has helped people to survive through it very effectively. And also, many people have escaped from it due to their well built immunity. And credit goes to Ayurveda once again. So, especially when it comes to women, somehow women's health is always secondary and mostly it is ignored. So, all that is what we want to address today. The first one is the senior person, Dr. Ahalya Sharma. Currently, she is a principal with Ayurvedic Medical College, Bangalore. Welcome to the program, Dr. Ahalya.
Thank
And
you. Thank you.
to tell more about Dr. Ahalya, she is Deputy Director with Rajiv Gandhi Education System. Also, she is a Joint Director with the Dravya Kosha Program of Karnataka State. The remark is, according to our belief, Hindu belief, our body or our mind or our constitution is made up of Pancha Mahabhuta. And all the five elements of nature have constructed our body. So, little imbalance externally or internally disturbs our health. Sometimes it becomes really difficult to manage. And our women at home, mother, grandmothers, they have their remedies, and quickly it helps us to come out of it. But somehow, for long term and for more effective treatment, we don't look at Ayurveda as the powerful tool. So that is something should be imposed more effectively, and it should become a because Ayurveda treats a person, not a disease alone. So I want to ask first question to Dr. Ahalya. Doctor, when it comes to uh, women health, uh, why not uh, Ayurveda used from the beginning?
We have to look at it pan India. Now, do you have, there are many factors. I shall try to bring in one by one.
Definitely.
Is the availability of Ayurveda doctors the same in every demographic area?
Yeah.
No.
No.
Since when has Ayurveda been branded? Let us recognize that it was only in the year 2005 when the Honorable Sushma Swaraj gave us this title of Ayush, made it the acronym of Ayurveda, Unani, Yoga, Siddha, and Homeopathy. She called it in that name. And the 9th of November 2014, our Honorable Prime Minister's cabinet decided to bring in a ministry for Ayush almost 67 years after independence. What was the pressure that was given for Ayurveda, the kind of a support that it required to exist? Let us understand the primary causes why Ayurveda came into the scene and why is it such a big thing. Today it is very, you just go through any YouTube, you will see Kama Ayurveda, you will see, excuse me for taking names, X Ayurveda, Y Ayurveda, Z Ayurveda. For an Ayurveda doctor, it becomes sometimes you wonder what are these herbs they are referring to, you know. It is like that. Branding is important in today's world. Until now, we were never a branded one. We were the, you know, Garki Murgi, we were never
Yes.
the exposed one. So we were there. You know, in the university, Rajiv Gandhi started in the year 1996, and we did not have colleges beyond 2 digits then. Today, we have 75 plus colleges of Ayurveda. Now, why has this change come in? Number one, as I see, the primary healthcare must be given through Ayurveda is our idea.
Yeah.
When the cost should be lower.
Yes.
The tertiary cost is becoming very high. You know, imagine a person with stroke at home and the kind of problem an entire family would go through. To have a help at home for them exclusively is a 20,000 issue. The medicines, etc. The longevity has gone up. So people are trying to be very healthy, trying to get into the right lifestyle. And when they want the right lifestyle, they want to look at Ayurveda because we tell them Ayurveda is a science of life and not just a remedial one. I remember when I sat for my practice way back in 1992, 30 years ago, people would tell me, I want to take your medicine, but you tell me a lot of patya restrictions.
Yeah.
I don't want to come to you. Today, my patients come and say, I'm fine, but tell me what I have to eat. So the concept has come in.
Mhm.
Okay. That is why it is now going to pick up. But now, once they take our treatment, once a family has had the confidence, the next idea is that they will come to me directly when it is a painful situation. Okay. Or when there is another emergency. And then I decide, is it in my limitation to handle them, or do I think that they need to go in for more investigations, or they might need a hospitalization somewhere? Lack of ICU or lack of immediate availability of acute to treat in acute conditions is still one of the drawbacks. I guess somewhere, as a responsible Ayurveda doctor, I would take responsibility to make sure that the confidence building on part of the patients and the confidence in for the peer group, for
Yeah.
anybody else, it could be an allopath, it could be anyone for that matter, that I have a publication, a strong publication that backs me, and I say, look, this is what it is. We have done this work.
Yeah.
I'm confident of treating this.
Yeah.
So there has to be an departmental dialogue that should happen, inter-system dialogue, and it is opening up. Integrative medicine today is the buzzword,
Yeah.
and people are coming to it. Okay.
Okay.
Compared to the earlier days, I see people come to us quite faster,
Mhm.
approach us as the first line of treatment, not always as because they did not. They do come to us even otherwise. Now, I generally treat infertility cases. So earlier I would see people who would come to me with big records. Now they say, ma'am, we've come to you first. We don't have any records. Would you ask us to get any tests done? So times have changed,
Yes.
and it requires more effort from our end. Earlier, our idea was that we make this popular and then, the word spreads. Now, the idea is they come as the mainstay, and I know what I can do and where I need to refer. All of us have our limitations, and I have no hesitancy in acceptance that we have a lot of good and we have our limitation.
Yes.
There is an accident outside, then I would say, please go and do whatever is required. An acute emergency, yes. So we have a big role to play, and we are as good a player as anybody else in the field.
Definitely. That's a very good point and very important insight you shared, because the abundance of resources is a major challenge we have
Yes.
in terms of Ayurvedic hospital, in terms of Ayurvedic doctors,
Yes.
and also the medicines. Very rightly said, because hardly one shop in a city that produces all the bhasma, all the churna, all the other medicines that you say. Now, in this discussion, I want to ask one more question too.
Break you for a minute. I just had a thought to share.
Sure.
Now, the idea of translational research is becoming very common. We started off as Ayurveda medical colleges,
Yeah.
and then we became Ayurveda Medical College and Research Center.
Ah.
Today, we are all an institute. So, we need to graduate. We need to grow from there, from strength to strength.
Definitely. Yes.
Come,
And as you
come on
rightly
with
said,
the
Doctor,
next question.
with the government's initiative, things are becoming more powerful and more streamlined and more channelized. That is helping to establish once again as effectively as we were before. Now, next question I want to know is, as you very rightly said, आप बहुत पथ्य बताते हैं और हर एक मेडिसिन एम्प्टी स्टमक लेना होता है, तो दैट रियली बिकम्स अ चैलेंज फॉर मी, बिकॉज मुझे तो सुबह सुबह उठ के बेड टी पीने की आदत है, तो फिर आप जो बोलते हैं कि नहीं, you have to take this at before food, you have to take this before your morning tea coffee, or in fact you also say that don't take tea coffee if possible. Now all this is becoming good for my health but not good for my palate. Now how do I really deal with it, because I want to be healthy on long term, but at the same time I don't want to compromise with my habits, because that gives me a good start is what my belief is. Maybe wrong, but that's what I have been doing for some time, and I think that's effective. Now, why all the Ayurvedic medicine tell me you should be taking it empty stomach?
Ayurveda does not give all medicines on empty stomach, number one. We give the medicines depending on the dosha. Okay. Now, there are times when you want to give medicines before food, In fact, you just spoke of one. It is only the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
We give medicines with food, with every morsel of food, between two morsels of food, after food, before food, on empty stomach, again and again. We call it as grasa, grasantara, muhurmuhu, sagrasa, pragbhakta, abhakta, without food, only medicine. So there are various combinations that we do. They are all done depending on the absorption that should be there.
Uh-huh.
Okay, in today's parlance, if I have to explain, maybe the pH, all these are hypothetical statements, but I'm sure we can find an answer in that. Depending on the pH of the stomach, in empty stomach, it would be different. After food, it would be different, depending on the absorption, depending on the target organ where you want it to be released and absorbed. Now, suppose I give a medicine, say Yashti Madhu Churna, the very common Madhu Yashti, Glycyrrhiza glabra, Mulethi. I want to mix it with honey and ask them to keep it in their mouth. The absorption starts from there. There is a pill that I give them with water. Then I want it to work from the gastrium down. It could be absorbed somewhere there. So depending on all this, depending on the chemical that had to be absorbed at that particular level, if we go back, I'm sure we'll be able to find that wisdom from what the rishis had said. For example, Parkinson's is considered to be a problem of pranamata according to us. So the medicine had to be early in the morning, very early in the morning, say around 4 a.m. That is when the Brahmi Muhurta comes. After a lot of research from NIMHANS, I think it was Dr. Uday Muthani who said the best time to take medicines for Parkinson is 3 a.m. So they had to be given medicines at that time. So lot of such things are being, that you can put one next to the other and see. Well, the knowledge base we come from is different. The language base is different. So we need the translational research to be able to stand on the same platform, to converse in the same language so that we can exchange ideas for the patient benefit. So it is not a dictum that we give medicines only on empty stomach. There are some medicines which are given exclusively on empty stomach, and there are medicines given after food. Yeah. When we say empty stomach, we would say there should be nil orally. That is, after I take the medicine, it should not, no food should be given for the next 1 hour.
Yes.
All this would depend on the dosha involved. Okay. If it is a problem of menstrual related, then it is before food, half an hour before food, 1 hour before food, I would give. If it is a problem that I want to, about around the stomach, duodenum areas, so, it is with food, just before food we would give. There are some medicines, as you mentioned, which are given early in the morning on empty stomach. Some of the lehyas, etc. that we give, we say take them first thing in the morning and then have a glass of milk, like that. Your second question about Prakriti and Vikriti. Okay, you take 3 seeds: one of neem, one of mango, and one of another, papaya, or a rose plant. You give it the same water, the same sunlight, the same mud, and the same coco peat and manure. Do you think you will get the same result? You won't. In a very similar way, the physical, physiological, pathological ideas, psychological ideas that form a human being. We are not just made up of the blood, bone, muscle, skin. No, we are not that. We are far beyond that. Me, the soul, who is there in this. As you have heard of the Ratha Kalpana of the Kathopanishad, which is commonly said, this is the chariot and the soul is the person going there. So this is just a vehicle for me. Sharira madhyam kalu dharma sadhanam. Sharira is only a madhyama for me for the dharma. That is the idea. Yeah. That is the idea with which the whole science was built about. Yeah. So when you look at that, each of us would be different. Yes. And that difference we see, but that does not make it an arbitrary one that we have no boundary at all. We do put a boundary. We have only these many major kinds, and in that we start taking the Taratama Bhava. So we have a Vata Prakriti, Pitta Prakriti, Kapha Prakriti, Vata Pitta, Kapha all put together. Then we have a Vata Pitta Prakriti, Pitta Kapha Prakriti, Kapha Vata Prakriti. So we divide them into these many. So we have a general classification into which we all fall. You must have read about the 12 zodiac signs. Not that it is applicable to everybody, but by and large, we belong to that.
Yes.
So in a very similar way, I belong to a certain Prakriti, you belong to a certain different Prakriti.
Right.
And that characterizes me.
Mm.
Most of our treatment. Now, would I give medicine before food or after food would also depend upon your Prakriti and the dosha that is generally predominant. If it is a kapha predominant, they can take it before food also. So the dictum is there, but always the experience and the wisdom of the Vaidya, prescribing Vaidya, would intervene and come over the prescription or even sometimes the guidelines that are given to us in the Shastra. Not that we want to violate the Shastra, but there are always Tishtatyupari yuktigno dravya jnanavatam sada, says the Shastra. Tishtati, he stands. Upari yuktigno, the one with yukti. Yukti is reasoning. And believe me, Ayurveda is not any mumbo jumbo or any other science like that. Absolutely. Charaka says, Vina tarkena ya siddhihi yadricha siddhirevasa. I shall translate it. Vina tarka. Tarka is logic and reason. If you have got any success, I say, I gave these two medicine and my patient conceived. If I cannot explain the logic of my medicine, he says, Yadricha, it is only a coincidental one. You have no claim on that. So absolutely logical, reason bound, scientific, with explanation. What is science after all? If you can repeat the experiment and get the same set of results again and again, yes, we are ready for that. And absolutely mathematical when you look at the guna part of it. Everything boils down to the quality of a drug. So we have X, Y, Z gunas, A, B, C gunas. A and Z have to match, X and Y have to go together. So you put them together, B and Y have to go together. As mathematical as that. So that's the beauty of it. So we do assess the Prakriti and then go to Vikriti. When do you come to me? Only when you are sick.
Yes.
So I'm not seeing a healthy person. I'm seeing someone sick. And that is why the Pathya comes. That is why the assessment of Prakriti goes away and we look at your Vikriti. In my mind, in my training, I would have assessed your Prakriti. But while talking, we speak about the Vikriti.
Women's health now. I have segregated women in 4 categories. Based on the various stages they are into. So the first stage I said is a pregnancy stage. Second one I have said is the adolescent, from teen to adolescent age, wherein the major hormonal change takes place. Third one is menopause stage, and the fourth one is the old age. And at these various stages, all women by and large face lot of complications and lot of setback. So now what Dr. Alia said, that if I come to you before I am into an acute situation, it's easy for you to put me on a proper course of action or medicine to avoid the complications that I may go. Now, what I request Dr. Sushma is, please take some information, or please share some knowledge on the pregnancy time. What kind of a temperament women has, what kind of prakriti or vikruti she has, and what kind of a food or regime she should follow to have a comparatively soothing time, a smooth time, rather than getting into real major challenges or complications. I'm saying that entire pregnancy process, from infertility to conceiving to being pregnant and delivery, can they completely rely on the Ayurveda?
Yes, they can.
Okay.
Absolutely. I remember when you were mentioning about the categorization of women that you had done into 4 stages, the pregnancy, menopause, etc., isn't it? Yes. Ayurveda starts this in a very, very big way. In fact, I must tell you at this point, if the system, if the idea of department-wise Ayurveda came, speciality Ayurveda, it was in Ayurveda, it started as the Ashtanga Ayurveda. We have 8 branches that started from there. Yes. So everywhere it has categorized it very clearly. A woman is called by different names in different age groups. Okay. She is called Bala when she is very young, Kumari when she is pre-pubertal, Rajasvala post-puberty, Ritumati when she is undergoing periods, she is a Ritumati, Garbhini when she is pregnant, Sutika, Prasava after she delivers, and then she is called Praudha Gauri, different names that come as per the age.
Sure.
So they've been called so. All these factors have been well recognized, and the categorization can be done. Now, pregnancy, conception, and carrying them on through pregnancy with our medicines, yes, absolutely possible. In fact, the preconception concept is very, very fast catching up, that people want to have counseling before they actually have, a baby.
Yeah.
In fact, we have medicines which are called Shukra Shodhaka Dravya. Those which can clear the semen, not just for good ones. In the increasing, etc., are different. We have medicines called Shukra Shodhaka, that is, they can actually give. Now, there was a father who had psoriasis. So he came to me and said, can I get something so that my child will not get? Well, this was an experiment, but yes, we could try it from the classical idea. So like that, we have the scope is so much, and we can take them. I have done a lot of antenatal care with Ayurvedic medicines, but let's not look at why not Ayurveda, why not allopathy, why should we keep them? Why do we have to go in for that exclusive mode? We are in an all-inclusive mode. What I want is the best for my patient. If at any point of time I think there is a bleeding that starts which I'm unable to control, or I think the patient needs blood when she would be, why should we hesitate in coordinating between the two of us? I can take them through very comfortably, carefully. In fact, I have a lot of my gynec friends who send patients saying, we're planning them for infertility, why don't you do a panchakarma and send them? We don't see a good endometrial response, why don't you do something from your end? So it's a matter of dialogue that's happening, and we do treat patients like that very, very often. So
doctor, what I understand from your statement just now, even the genetic problems, any kind of diseases which can be arrested at that level, and not the child will not get affected if at all there is something. Is that true?
I do not want to claim it, especially in a media like this. I'm not saying that. I'm only saying there are pointers in the text. Okay. I would be able to talk about it if I had 30 cases with control and 30 cases that I have treated, and then I come out with the paper and then talk about it. Otherwise, yes, arbitrarily we are doing it here and there, and maybe there are failures in that, maybe there is a lot of success in that, and that this is not the platform for me to be talking about it. But I said, these are the kind of patients we have, a mother who says, I had these habits, now I want to get off it, so you give me something. Treatment preconception, as Dr. Sushma was mentioning, is extremely important. Today we have, there's something called the Barker's hypothesis in the West, in allopathic medicine, modern medicine, the fourth group of diseases, fetal origin of adult disorders. Ideas of that have been taken completely, you can see the basics of it from Ayurveda. In fact, there is an Upanishad called Garbhopanishad. And there are a lot of centers which have come up in Pune and other places where they're doing a lot of this antenatal work. So in the 4th month, if this is the craving and not done, then what does it have? What happens? Maybe the child will be born with these problems. So we have seen a lot of such inputs from the text. We are seeing them in reality, and we are working on it. Taking them through antenatal, yes, we can do it. Menopause and taking them through it, yes, very well. We have innumerable medicines to take them through all the hot flushes, the dryness, the other things that come. In fact, that is the stage when Vruddhavastha sets in. You may not be 60 and being called a senior citizen, but then that happens in your body. So a lot of Abhyanga, etc., that we advise from Ayurveda to keep Vata under check helps them innumerably in various ways. I'll just give you one example, Ketaki.
Sure.
In many of the houses, a lactating mother was given something called Kardantu. We had this antinunde madi kodtidvi. It is available in many shops also now. Very typically the Belgaum area thing. It had something called dink, antu, which has a lot of glucosamine. And what is it that a bone needs? And what is it that a lactating mother needs? So they had not put 1-to-1, but all these practices that came, giving them a lot of methi, giving them the idea of regimental one. In fact, betel leaves were given to women post-delivery, and they said, you all have to eat betel leaves. The idea was not the betel leaf, but the sunnam that was put on that. That is the rich calcium source. You didn't need a calcium pill. You ate that, and after food, you had them good. You had the juice of the plant, and 2 betel nut is not going to be an addiction to any woman. So it was like that. It was brought in as a culture. So we broke the culture somewhere, and now we made it. You give it today to a young girl, and she would say, "What stupidity is this?" Is but the idea was that and always more than a pill, it is absorbed better as a diet.
Yes.
So you had the best calcium.
Yes. Yes.
It was not the pink chunnam that you used. It was the white that you got from the nearest place, and you used it at home. So they were available in and around our houses.
True.
Life has changed so drastically that it may not always be possible. And we may have to order for it from Amazon.
We say that our food is our medicine.
Absolutely.
So we have to be really careful and very attentive to what we are eating and what we are consuming. And as you rightly said, doctor, that things are available as a part of food, but somehow in the process of development and modernization, we are ignoring this very rich treasure and culture that we have.
Exactly. I would like to take this minute to put my heart out. Many, many times, if you lose the culture once, it's very difficult to re-establish. In fact, this morning I was reading so many civilizations have gone away. And what remains from then to now is this Indian culture, and what remains is Ayurveda. And it is each of our responsibility to make sure that it continues to flourish and help us. But how do we do it in all the changes that we are bringing about? Despite the changes, we must keep it intact. That is the idea. And we say Ayurveda is Trikala. It was relevant then, it is relevant today, and it will be relevant in future also.
Definitely. Now here I have come with another finding of mine, and I was doing little homework when I thought of this session. There are various Vaidyashalas, Shishruta, Charaka, even Kottayam, and all these names we have heard. Again, as in the beginning, Dr. Alia said that things were forgotten, and that's the reason we do not have much information about it, much trust in it. But those things existed and very powerfully existed. Now, how a particular person should know which particular course of medicine he should approach? If let's say I have XPG Vikruti. Now let's talk in Ayurvedic language. So I know these are my Vikrutis, and I want to have a permanent solution to it. I'm ready to follow the regime that you tell me. I'm ready to follow the patha you tell me. But I also want to know which particular medicine course. Is it a Charaka? Is it a Shishruta? Is it a Kottayam? Which one is useful for me? How do you decide that?
A patient need not have whether it is Kottakkal, it is not Kottayam, it is Kottakkal, Vaidyaratnam. These are some established, very standard groups of institutes that have come. Apart from that, we have the other manufacturing companies. The schools of thought, we have Taittiriya Upanishad, we have Kathopanishad, we have Kenopanishad. Yes. What are they all talking? They're talking of the same Atman, they're talking of it from different languages and giving you different inputs. The same idea, they're, putting it, they're running up to it. So in one, they may talk of Dharma, Adharma, in the other, they may talk of the Panchakosha, in another one, they may talk of Papa Punya, they may talk of Karma, Upasana, Jnana, but ultimately they build you up to understand Atma Jnana. In a very similar way, Charaka, Sushruta, and Vagbhata, they were three acharyas who came. Probably Sushruta is the oldest, but the available text, since it says Charaka Samhita says Tatra Dhanvantarinam Adhikaraha. That is, I refer this case to a surgeon. So when he says, we put Sushruta to be older than Charaka. So we have Charaka Samhita, which basically talks of medicine with philosophy. We have Sushruta Samhita, which talks about surgery, basically surgery and remedies thereon. And Vagbhata, which is actually a compilation of the two. So this is how the texts are. But this is an academic one. What does a patient have to do? A patient just needs to know, am I going to an Ayurvedic physician who is qualified, who has a BA, MS degree today? Or if the doctor is old, it could be a BSAM degree. So please go, because I have seen many people, my own patients, who say, I got this medicine from Gujarat, somebody sent me, I'm taking this. And after 2 months, they say, I put on 8 kilos, please see what the medicine contains. Very educated people who can get taken for a ride, And I would want this is my appeal to all of you. Please make sure you go to an educated Ayurveda Vaidya. You don't go to anybody else. Like, there are a lot of folk practitioners. I'm not degrading any practitioners. Even a glass of water, if it heals, is medicine, and a person who gives is a Vaidya. Vaidya is one who is with this knowledge. So one who is knowledgeable. Okay. But we are in this context limiting it to a Vaidya, a university degree qualified with formal training and education. And thereon, what the doctor prescribes is the doctor's know-how and training. So what medicine comes to you is not your issue at all. Once you have a doubt about, am I sure of the quality? Am I sure this is not adulterated? You please feel free to ask all those questions, because you should not go home with a doubt in your mind. And most of the medicines come according to the lab tested ones, which with their batch numbers, with absolute quality control. We have GMP, Good Manufacturing Practice, as a sine qua non for all Ayurveda pharmas. So you can be rest assured. People still think, do they mix it with steroid? No, they don't. We don't need to do any such game. And if there is one person who is doing it, it is a personal mistake and not that of a fraternity of Vaidyas. So this is what I want to appeal to all my friends through this media, that look into who you're going, and that's all that matters. And once you go there, your health responsibility is as much your doctor's as it is yours. I take responsibility for my patients' health along with their cooperation, because I tell a pathya and you don't follow it and you expect to get better, it is not possible.
That's not possible.
You and I are co-participants in your journey to health.
Makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. And every time it is not every time, anytime it is not good to blame a doctor for a failure, because as you rightly said, the patient is equally responsible and involved into the entire process. So if you are doing something wrong, doctor need not be blamed. That's perfect approach.
I want to tell you a small shloka here from Yoga Ratnakara. Yoga Rat book starts, Vyadeha tattva parigyanam. I will understand the disease. Vedanayascha nigraha. I will try to control the pain. Yetat vaidyasya vaidyatvam. This is all a vaidya can do. Na vaidyam prabhurayushaha. I have no control over anybody's lifespan. This is the opening remark of a very, very important textbook of Ayurveda. So we know our limitations. And every Shastra, all the Shastrakaras had mentioned diseases as easily treatable, treatable with difficulty, and not treatable at all. Asadhya vyadi. You can't do anything. If a doctor could do all that, I would be beyond human. It's not that. So we all have, a disease will take its turn. And wherever possible, we want to stop the progress of the disease. That's it.
Perfect. Now coming to the last section of my questions. Just now you mentioned, doctor, that Sushruta is a surgery stream. And in my childhood, the first photograph I saw Ayurveda is Muni operating or fixing a bone of a patient. And that has made a remark on my brain that this is what is Ayurveda all about. Now, we also know that Ashwini Kumar was known as a Deva Vaidya, the chief surgeon of Vedic period. In future, will Ayurveda involved in surgeries?
Whatever is mentioned in the Sushruta Samhita is being used, is being permitted today also. Whatever has been mentioned there. Like, for example, he talks of a calculi, a renal stone that we call in normal language, and that can be operated. And he had mentioned about piles, yes. A fistula, yes, it can be operated. It mentioned about fissure and a surgery thereon, a procedure thereon, yes, that is allowed. So like that they have done. Is it the same? No. Are we wearing the same dress since then? No. Did we use the mobile then? No. The techniques have changed drastically. Certain ones like Sharasutra remain to be the same and we use them. Okay, but again with a lot of modification, we use them. We have been there were different kinds of anesthesia mentioned then, today we have such sophisticated, such good techniques that are in place, which are so comfortable to make life easy for any patient. You get onto a general anesthesia, half an hour later you are back, and someone's put in their effort and hard work. And any person who brings in good is as good a rishi as Charaka or Sushruta. Same with Pasteur or same with Lavoisier. They've done the great work. So take them all with you, and that's how it is. And if we are permitted legally, we are given one clearance, but we are waiting for the local bodies to accept it and come across. And there is a certain bit of opposition for it, which should come down, which should be probably okayed in a couple of months, is what we expect. Yes, because with the training and probably an exit exam that the government may plan, and finding that people are as capable.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of training and coming out. And I think these issues will be sorted out. And wherever possible, I would look at it. This is my very personal opinion as Ahalya. If you have something very good in place, let the system be. If you can add on to it, please do. If you have something else, just because they have it, I want to compete is not the, maybe Dhauda is not the idea. Ayurveda has a big role to play in preventing diseases, through good lifestyle. Again, I want to say, let's not get fanatic. And somebody says, eat neem, so you eat neem all through year. Please don't do that. Consult the Vaidya. Is it okay? You are a Pitta Prakriti person, eating neem every day could be a problem later. So do everything in moderation. Anuyayat pratipadam sarvadharmeshu madhyamam. Go the middle way. Do not go either to your right or to your left. Let's be in the center. You have a problem, please consult a physician, and not just your Google or your friend who orders it on Amazon. Please don't do that. That would be okay for them, not for you. So do it that way, because a training does mean something. So you are trained 5.5 years, and I'm sure our youngsters are much brighter, and they are more techno savvy. They'll be able to come out with a lot more solutions. So let's look at health as something that's innate with us, and that can be in case we lose it, which is very often that it happens in this stress and strain and the way of living that we are getting onto. Then we need help. Let's look at health. That's only for a short period of time, but we can always come out of it, bounce back to normal health. So a doctor becomes a catalyst in making you healthier. Let's just have that kind of an idea, and we go on, unless it is a fatal one, unless it's a terminally ill case. And not all of us get terminally ill. Let's not get, we look at one specific case and say, oh, all of us are there. No, not really so. There are many people who still die in a nice condition, who still have a good end of life, a peaceful end, and who have a good life, good quality of life all through. And we could use these simple techniques to lead that kind of a good quality life. And anything else, yes, research should back it, is been backing it. Doctors are there, planning out the protocols and doing it to you in a very professional way.
Wonderful. Doctor, last question. In old age, especially women, face a lot of problem with the bone density, the brittle bones, and falling and fracture is a very common sin.
So you start this as a simple routine practice. Keep a bottle of oil in your bathroom, and before you have your bath, take out about 10 ml, apply it all over your body, give a nice massage to yourself, just soak for about 5 to 8 minutes, and then follow it up with a lukewarm water bath. Let me repeat it. We tend to take very, very hot water bath and then complain of dry skin, and more so we sit in the AC, which dries up the skin further. So it's just a lukewarm water followed by good application of oil. You can't do it every day, do it 3 times a week. I'm sure Saturday and Sunday is on off, and find one day in between to do this. That itself is enough. And we started from our 40th year, say, around the 4th decade of life. Then the skin health is taken care of, the hair is generally taken care of, and the other aspects of whatever you were mentioning is also taken off. We do have medicines, the natural calcium supplements that are given according to age, but it is not given just for that. We look at asti as one of the dhatus which need to be nourished. You have all heard of this matti mara anta kelirtiri. Matti mara irutte manelella upyogisuvantadu. We use Arjuna as the Terminalia Arjuna as the botanical name. We use a decoction of the bark of Arjuna, generally given for about a month or so. Would help in improving these levels. Pardon?
Orally given, Arjuna?
Orally.
Okay.
Yes, orally, decoction of it. So we boil it with milk and give it as a kshirapaka many times. And when you go to your Vaidya, they will suggest some of these things along with some calcium supplements, or it could be even a lehya that they would give, depending on your prakriti and your general health. So we can definitely prevent that. Also, walking in the right way.
Share the last message or word of wisdom for the better health for women, especially.
Uh, I would like to end it with a shloka from Vagbhata. Nityam hitahara vihara sevi. Eat food. Nityam is eternal, every day. Nityam hitahara vihara sevi. Eat food that you are used to, that you are comfortable, what is seasonally, locally grown. As simple as that. Samikshakari vishayetva saktaha. Introspect. Don't get into the rush of living, they have it, I want it. This is there, that is there. Especially in the 20s and 30s, we all get into a competitive mode. I'm not saying competition is bad, but let's not compete with everything kept at stake. We could just enjoy, live life. There is the saying, when you walk, do not just think of reaching the destination, but enjoy the path as well. So that's what we have forgotten. Why are we in stress? Because we just want to reach there, and in that reach, we have missed out on so many things. So let's walk the path, enjoy the path. And there is no standard for anything in life. Is this much enough? Is this money? Is this property? No, there's nothing like that. What's most important is the mindset. And that's what Vagbhata comes to. Samikshakari vishayetva saktaha. Data, one who can give. What can you give? Need not be a big donation. You can give your time, your love, your knowledge, your thoughts. Data, Samaha, one who is equanimous. Yes, good comes, bad comes, everything need not go my way. It's okay. Today it's like this, so nothing big about it. If you stand firm, your friend will also come through it and say, oh, is that so? That's okay. Data, Samaha, Satyaparaha. You need a value system for life. Satyaparaha, Kshamavan. Most important, if you can forgive and say, okay, that's in the past. Today is a new day. Let me go on. Kshamavan, Aptopasevi. Mark this word. Aptopasevi. If you have a good set of friends, if you have a good family backing, if you feel accepted, if you feel loved, that's the most important thing to get away from depression, anxiety. Feeling of loneliness is what you could be living in a big city, but you could be very, very lonely, which is what we are seeing. In fact, that is the growing pandemic today.
Yes.
You live in same house, but people are so very lonely. When are you lonely? When you have not accepted somebody. So let people accept you and accept people for who they are and what they are. This is what is important. We have more mobiles, 5G, 6G will come. We have greater speed and internet, but are we really connected? I was just reading something of somebody saying, what's the difference between connecting and coming in contact and with each other? We are in contact. Are we really connected? We may spend time with our parents, but have we spent time with them eating, asking how they are? So simple little things which make you important, feel important. All of us want to be accepted. Ultimately, that's the issue all of us have. So accept people. Kshamavan aptopasevi bhavatyorogaha. Health comes not because only of just good food and good exercise. Well, they are the cake. But the icing on the cake comes because of our attitude. And no medicine can give in that attitude. Once you develop that attitude, any medicine can work on you. So what's more important is to have that attitude to live life well. And there is nothing that's enough. So what I have is enough. I'll try to work from here on is a good idea, rather than saying, I just want that and I want to be there. So these are some thoughts that come to me as a physician when I see patients. And hopefully we'll all inculcate that. Please don't take it as a sermon, but this is what I've seen in patients. And when we have understood this, I'm fine with you as the way you are. Well, I need these changes, and we could probably sort it out. That becomes an easier platform, especially women, because our deep down, we are more sentimental, more emotional than men, and also more expressive than them. Okay. So that way, I think this is very, very important to our health to be well. Otherwise, I would say Ayurveda is a beautiful flower which is already there. We are now trying to decorate it more and present it to people in the right way in today's language, and would be more accepted with better scientific understanding of its theories in days to come. Thank you so much for providing this platform. I hope my friends would benefit through this media and would have a reasonably good understanding and idea of this great science of life. And we are proud to be born in the land in which it actually originated. So with a word of thanks on everybody's behalf to all the sages who brought it just for the good of humanity. Natmartam napi kamartam atha bhutadayam prati is what it says. It's not for myself, it's not for kama or artha. It is for bhutadaya, that is for the good of everyone. So with these words, I thank you so much for having us on this platform. Thanks a lot, Ketaki, and wish you all the very best for your future endeavors. May God bless you and the viewers. Thank you.
So with this, I want to add from my side is Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. All of us are complete within. Just that we need to accept that and do not rush for the unnecessary desires and never-ending rat race.